Hi there. Welcome to the first episode of Inertia. This is a vlog series where I'm going to be documenting my entire journey of building a video production company right here in Toronto, Canada. And just as a forewarning, this series is going to be very raw, very stripped down. I don't want to have to spend time setting up insane lighting setups and figuring out how to do things perfectly, because the most important thing is just to start. And I will be talking about that in a little bit. And the first thing I want to talk about is why a video production company and why Gambit Motion. It's an interesting name, so I figured I should dive into what it is, what it means. So as to why a production company itself, I've always loved video production. I'm going to dive more into that in a little bit, but I think that I really want to get into storytelling and specifically brand storytelling, because I do think it's kind of a lackluster field. I think there's a lot of people that do it and not a lot of people that do it well. And my goal is to build a production company that knows how to do it, does it well, does it right, and ideally can do it at a larger scale. And most of this comes from like a frustration of seeing a lot of content on social media or even like commercials that just don't do anything for me. They don't feel anything. I don't remember anything after I see it. Our entire mission is to try and make brands unforgettable. And that's kind of the key to a lot of what our messaging and our branding is. Because I think to be an unforgettable brand or an unforgettable anything, you have to resonate, people have to connect with you, people have to kind of know who you are and keep it in mind and remember it without you having to say it all the time. And I truly believe that with storytelling, you can do that. You can bring people into your world, you can show them who you are, what you do, and they remember you and they think about you and they just care more. And through a lot of my experience working both as a freelancer and on just other different kinds of projects similar to what a video production company makes, I've come to realize that both a strong narrative, a good story, and a very well thought out strategy to tell that story tend to lead to success for us and for our clients. Potential clients, I should say. We don't have any yet, and that's why we're on this journey together. I think it's going to be fun to see how we do that. As for the name, Gambit, we took from chess. I love chess. I think it's probably one of the greatest games ever made. But to make that as simple as possible, a gambit is a calculated risk. In chess specifically, it's a kind of sacrifice that you do in order to gain later in the game. And that's kind of everything that we're trying to do here with Gambit Motion. It's calculated, deliberate moves that are meant to benefit the long term. And that's why we focus on storytelling, because the truth generally outperforms anything else. And stories are just more interesting to watch and listen to. And that's also why the series is called Inertia, which I will jump into in a little bit. So here's how we got here. In 2019, 2020, just before and during early COVID, I was doing freelance videography. I was shooting a lot of music videos and a lot of random social content, and I was doing a lot of it by myself, which I found to be very, very cumbersome. Without even realizing what I was doing, I was the director, producer, cinematographer, gaffer, audio technician, editor, and also handling everything client side, which if you've ever done and survived, kudos, because it's kind of a nightmare to do all that. And in, I think, late 2020 or 2021-ish, I ended up leaving videography. At least I would pick up random gigs here and there, but I wasn't focused on it because one, COVID slowed a lot of things down, but also two, it just wasn't sustainable. Like I'd be putting 50 hours into a project and I might make $200, you know what I mean? $300. It was not ideal. And so I went into doing a bunch of different things from there. I went into automotive. I went into IT and technical support. I did retail. I worked a lot of jobs, and don't get me wrong, it was a phenomenal experience, and a lot of the things I learned doing those jobs I still use to this day. There's a lot of transferable skills and more like specific skills, but that was like a 3-year journey of trying to figure out what I like doing and what something that I'm good at, that I enjoy, that I also can make money off of. And so after doing that for a few years, I realized that one, I miss doing video and I wanted to find out how to do it better. I learned everything just by doing. Like I bought a camera, I learned how to use it, and I just started telling people I'm a camera guy. And so I made 2 kind of big decisions in 2024. One being that I'm gonna go back into video production, which was super exciting. But 2, I'm also gonna get a formal education. And so I went to film school for 2 years, and I just graduated in April, May of this year, 2026. And funny enough, when I went to film school, I went with the intention of building a video production company afterwards, but I was definitely already leaning more towards like the social, the commercial space. I love documentary too, but I was more leaning towards those two. But funny enough, being in film school and working on narrative projects, I absolutely fell in love with that process. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do when I finished school, which was really funny. Like I went back to school at 26 years old, and I was one of the older students in my cohort, but I definitely went in with a goal in mind. And funny enough, it kind of like twisted and turned as I was there, because I was just learning new things so frequently. And I think long term, I still want to work in the narrative space. Like I think my absolute dream would be to direct or DP a narrative feature. And I think that's something I could do in 15 years, 10, 15 years. It's not something that is an urgent thing for me. I'd rather build up something that works right now and also develop my skills slowly over time, so when that opportunity comes, I'm absolutely ready for it. So film school, right, I learned the importance of crew work. I learned the importance of everyone having a specific job, and I realized how much more efficient it was to do a system like that, where one person comes in and they are just in charge of the lights, one person is just audio, one person is operating the camera while their boss is deciding where all those pieces are moving. And filmmaking is really like the strongest form of teamwork makes the dream work. So I learned that process. I learned, most importantly, how to work with people and how to work the right way. And so I'm taking that knowledge with me into this production company. Even though this production company is more focused on documentary style, social content, and commercials, I still, one, I'm open to other opportunities. Like if I know someone that wants to make a narrative short or a narrative feature, they can produce it through us. That's something that we have the skill set to do. But our bread and butter is going to be like the documentary style content, web footage, that kind of thing, just because I think it's much more approachable. The projects tend to be a lot shorter, which means we don't have to put as much resources into it, but also we can technically do more of them than we would be able to do for like a short film. When you're doing a short film, you're usually in like focused pre-production for a month or more, hopefully. But with like a short form narrative style, docu-style video, you can kind of get away with like a week of focused preparation, and it's still well done preparation. Don't get me wrong, we're not cutting corners here, but you can still get a lot of things done in a shorter amount of time, and that way you can do a little bit more volume but still at a high quality. And so yeah, my key takeaway from going to film school for 2 years was just collaboration is everything, storytelling is everything. So I'm using that and putting it into Gambit Motion. So as I said earlier, Gambit Motion, essentially the name is about chess. It's about the idea of calculated moves, sacrifices for long-term gain. And our main focus right now is just building out a portfolio. Me and all the crew that I'm working with on building this company up, we all have our own portfolios, but we don't have a lot of work together that we can claim as Gambit Motion Productions. So we've been building our portfolio out. If you've seen our Instagram, you've seen so far we are doing this like 1 to minute and a half short series. And as of the time of recording this, episode 6 of 8 is coming out tomorrow. So we're almost done that series. And the cool thing is we wrote it in such a way where we can take all the short episodes, bundle it together, and it's essentially like a 12-minute-ish short film. So I think that's cool. We still got to do our narrative work with a scripted piece, which is always fun. But we also got 8 weeks of content out of it, which is great strategy. And right now we're working with a few other portfolio clients, I should call them. We offer to do some free stuff for different brands that are local in Toronto, just to prove that we know what we're doing. And so later this week, we're shooting a founder story, and late August, we're shooting a brand story, and we're working on a spec commercial that we can hopefully do in September. So we're doing a lot of small things at a smaller scale just to get the ball rolling, just to build that small momentum, which is why this series is called Inertia, because starting is almost always the hardest part. An object without movement is bound to not move. You need to get it started, right? It's easy to stay stopped, but it's a lot harder to stop momentum that's going. So all these small little things that we're doing, we're building up our own momentum, we're creating inertia around Gambit Motion. And so that brings us to today, where we have our offerings on our website essentially. So it's brand stories, founder stories, docuseries, commercials, and then we're still offering the episodic as an additional add-on. So those will be for like more retainer clients if we can get those. And my main goal with this production company is to be able to build such a strong system around it that it kind of just runs by itself. Like, obviously I like being involved in the production, in the pre-production, in the outreach, in every aspect of business, which, by the way, it's a lot. Like, do your research, make sure you're cut out for this, because it's a lot. But what we're trying to make right now is stuff for founders and small to medium businesses that just have a hard time connecting with their audience and have a hard time having people associate their brand with certain things. And we think the best way to make those connections is through storytelling content. And a quick rundown of the short-term goals. This quarter, I want 3 to 5 really strong portfolio pieces. I want our website locked in, beautiful, ready to go, that if anyone lands on it, they know exactly who we are and what we do. I want our systems in place to the point where if something new is happening or if anyone else has to take over a task that I'm usually doing, they can easily do so. And ideally, we get our Instagram to about 500 followers. Right now, we're at about 360 something, which is not bad considering we just started in June. Technically, the business started in July, but I started posting content on there in June, so it's not bad growth, but I'm really hoping for a little bit more. So I'm pumping out 3 to 4 reels a week on there. It's a lot, but I think it's worth it. And then next quarter, I think a very reasonable goal for us in the last 3 months of the year. I mean, I don't know, but looking at like how many people we can reach out to and our pricing right now, I'm aiming for 20,000 Canadian revenue in fourth quarter, which it's definitely aspirational, don't get me wrong. It's definitely a high number considering quarter 3 is almost definitely going to be 0 because it's all portfolio work. But I think it's something we can possibly do. And just to clarify, revenue and profit are not the same. I will not be taking home 20 grand at the end of the year. But I think it's a reasonable number that's low enough that it could actually happen, but high enough where it means we got to work hard for it. And that's a good goal. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at today. New company, building a portfolio, building up our specs, going crazy on content, to be honest. And just trying to prove that we know what we're doing and that we know how to actually execute on the stuff that we're promising, right? And in the next episode of Inertia, I'm going to be showing you more about the spec projects and the portfolio pieces that we've been working on and what we're trying to do in order to actually land our first client. But either way, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, you are the best. I love you. I hope you have a wonderful day. This has been Inertia episode 1. I don't have a timeline on how often I'm going to do these, but I'm going to try to do them as often as possible. So again, thank you. I have been Justin, founder of Gambit Motion. Wow, fancy. It's weird to say this kind of stuff out loud because this is all very new to me, but that's who I am. That's who we are. That's what we're doing. And if you want to follow along for the journey, because I think it's going to be a very fun one, I'm going to learn a lot of stuff. Hopefully you're going to learn a lot of stuff. See where we can take this thing. So thank you. All the best. Take care.